America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Let's talk about printing money.
Yeah, so here's kind of my philosophy on this right here. Most people say they have a budgeting issue, but you don't have a budgeting issue. You got a revenue problem. You don't have enough money coming in, and that's why you feel like you have to budget. And I'm not saying budgeting is bad, but I am telling you, if there is a restriction in your money, then it is a revenue problem, so you need to learn how to print money. We were talking about this earlier before we started this podcast, and you first need to just figure out what is your problem. Start solving your own problem, because you're going to be passionate about that, and you'll get obsessed with getting that problem fixed. Therefore, you're going to be much more likely to be successful at starting to make money as you're solving this problem. So maybe it's just you have a money problem. Maybe you don't have a particular problem like I never have enough time to get my yard mowed. That would be a problem. So you would potentially look at lawn service and how you could start providing that for others that didn't have time to get their lawns mowed. But let's just bring it down and say your problem is you just don't have enough money right now. Well, then that opens up the possibilities to so many things, because you can make money at anything. So solve your own problem first, and if you can't find a unique problem, then it opens it up to where you just say, how can I start generating money from something? So I would sit there, and also when I look at a couple little things that I wrote down here, once you figure out what you want to solve, you got to figure out who your customer is and get that customer information. So you do it a really, really specific way with gutter cleaning. So how do you find your customers' information so that you're able to contact them?
Well, once you figure out who your avatar is, then you got to figure out how you're going to get them. So you could just use something like DirectSkip, Mark Evans' company. You can basically tell them, hey, I'm looking for every condominium association in Connecticut, and they can just pull that list for you, right? That has every condo association, their phone numbers, emails. You can get that specific. If you didn't even want to pay for that, you could go on Google just in your town and start pulling every condo association, apartment complex, going in there and finding their information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a better way to pull this now. Then there's software like Apollo IO. So if you can pull every type of manager that manages industrial properties in your city, you could just literally pull that list and get them all. Once you get it, then you just have to reach out with them with a message that they want to hear. Like if you see, hey, everybody has this issue at condominium association, they all need their gutters cleaned. And I don't think there's enough people who will do it. Then you just start reaching out to them, email, phone, calling them. I mean, it's that simple. People always ask me, how do you get all these complexes, man? How do you and I always tell them, I call them. Like that's it. I reach out, I email, I call them. Don't overthink it.
Does every one of them that you reach out to buy?
No. Most people aren't interested. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for, if I can get 1 out of 10 to be interested, and I talk to 100 of them, that means I get 10 people interested. I'm not selling $50 services here. We're talking about $3,000, $4,000 per service. And then I just got one of those 10 to buy from me. I mean, that would be kind of horrible numbers.
But still the math works out. You're still making money at those low numbers right there.
So I have guys calling. One guy in particular, he puts about 9 leads on a day, right? 9 people are interested. We consider 2 of them are really interested because we have different levels. Like some are like, yeah, send me a price, go ahead. They're not really interested. We call that level 1. He gets 2 level 3s where they're like, yeah, we need that service. And they tell him something. We had this guy, he didn't show up, he didn't have his insurance, whatever. We jump on those people. And we're usually turning one or about out of those two, about 1.4. So 70% of those into customers. But we don't stop after one day.
I think, so I tell people when they say, you know, what skill set should I focus on? I tell them, look, your very best skill set to focus on would be marketing and sales. Because if you can generate leads, then you will never be without work, because you are always able to capture a potential customer, a business's avatar, their customer, their attention, and then feed them over to the business. And essentially that's what we're talking about right now, is understanding how to hunt and how to get the attention of the customer. So you just said direct skip. That is one avenue of grabbing the customer, but you got to understand who your avatar is. So if I'm sitting here trying to do lawn care service on a residential side, then I know that I want the people that have the disposable money and not enough time, or they value their time more than they do trying to save a dollar. So I'm going to go to higher end neighborhoods. And then I'm going to search that zip code or that specific neighborhood, and I'm going to find that homeowner's information so I can reach out to them. Maybe it's a door knock, maybe I send the email, maybe I send the ringless voicemail by using Sly Broadcast. Maybe what's the text messaging software that you guys use to do the text, the SMS? Ring Central, that's another. GTS, Google that shit. That's what it boils down to. We make so many excuses of why we can't produce money because we limit ourselves in our thought processes, but it's like we get so overwhelmed because there's so many opportunities. So here's what I say. Start with a problem that you have, and if you can't figure out a problem that you have, then just start somewhere. So everybody's got lines. Start with lines. Everybody's got gutters. Everybody's got concrete that needs some pressure washing. You don't have to learn a skill set or go buy the equipment. You just need to know how to get that customer's attention, and then you can sit there and sub the work out. Zero investment except for your time. So you sit there and you spend what? Probably $50 to $100 on a list in your area if you want to pull it off of direct skip, and then you spend maybe $25 on Sly Broadcast to sit there and send these ringless voicemails out. But if I'm broke, I'm just going to go walk the neighborhood and door knock.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. I'm going to give everybody an idea of something I got, and they could do it today. So this is very common in Florida. There's algae all over these tile roofs, and these HOAs require you to get it clean. They will fine you like per day to do it. So I had a buddy down in Florida, and he was telling me about this, and he had this big house, like 5,800 square feet. He was like, man, getting these prices, $1,600, $1,700, I got to do this every year. I should start a roof cleaning business. Well, you know who did it? Me. That's how I got into roof cleaning. I'm like, that's a good ass idea. Yeah. And I was already on roofs and everything, and I saw it. I ended up learning how to do it. And then what I did is I didn't just go out and just try to go get roof cleaning. I tried to find the HOAs that did that to people in New Jersey. I found a few. I would literally call the clubhouses to say, do you guys require that? And they're like, no, we don't really have a big problem with that. And I started calling. I get to one that they're like, yeah, we require that. You have to have it every year. We fine them. It was like, I was like, this is perfect. They have 483. I think we did 91 of those. I mean, but anybody could do it. So you could also go find those HOAs in Florida, pull the list of those people, slide dial them, put a ringless voicemail, see if you could skip trace, get their email, call them, text them, send them a thing. Hey, we'll solve that problem for you. We'll get you a certificate. We'll send it to your HOA. And then you don't know anything about roof cleaning. Then go pull another list of roof cleaners and pressure washers and say, hey, I can funnel you work. This is how it's going to go. I'll line up these houses for $1,000 each, and I'm going to get $300 on a rip.
You become a deal maker, and this is how you print money. You become a deal maker. You literally only need to connect the dots. You connect the customer dot to the business service provider, and then you take that cream in the middle. And that is your deal making, and this is how you start printing money. You don't need to know how to clean roofs. You don't need to have a lawnmower. You don't need to know how to clean carpet or to build this widget. You just need to know how to get the customer's attention and then feed them over to the business owner. And Google that shit. It goes back to doing just a little bit of research so that you will understand what software systems you need to be able to make your customer acquisition a little bit easier. easier, like how do I get customers' information on home buyers, on whatever. And you're going to see it populate Direct Skip and all these other search engines. How do I send a ringless voicemail? How do I send an SMS message? It'll populate these service providers, and then they'll have educational videos on how to use their particular service. People just stay so lazy, and they enjoy, I guess, the excuse of, I don't have time or money.
Yeah.
But the reality is when you're hungry and you're thirsty and you're starving to death, you go find some food, even if it's in the dumpster.
Money is easy to find. Solve problems you have, or solve problems other people have. In that case, my buddy had it.
Yeah. And you heard light bulb
It
went
wasn't
off.
an issue for me, and I was like, ooh. So I asked him. I actually asked him, drive around your neighborhood. I said, what do you got, like 80 houses? Like, yeah, I got 100 houses. I said, just drive by and tell me how many of them, count them.
Yeah.
So he calls me up and he's like, yeah, like 70.
Yeah.
I have the allergy problem. I'm like,
70.
It's
Like
big
I
out
would
there.
literally, I would have called a pressure washing company and I would have said, hey, if I can send you a bunch of leads, what would that look like? I'm thinking either I can sit here and I can take a percentage, or you can tell me what your average is and I'll price them and send them over to you. So how can I give you more leads? Do you want more work?
everybody will answer.
They'll say, yeah. If someone called me and said, do you want more work? I would say absolutely, especially if they're local. This is a local guy, local company, like I can see that working. So you just make the phone call so you kind of know you've already got the gauged interest. You heard your buddy sit there and say, this is something required. So I want to tell a quick story that I heard in one of my mastermind groups. And this is why I highly recommend that everybody listening to this gets in masterminds, because you start having a new belief system when you hear other people's success stories, or you hear other people's triumphs when they've gone through a valley of just heaviness and roadblocks and obstacles. It reminds you that you're not the only one in the game, and it also lets you know that there is a brighter side to where you're at right now. So this guy was just brainstorming how he can bring in some new revenue. He needed more cash to come in so that he would have more opportunity with that new cash. And he found vinyl plank, and he found it in the wholesale market. First of all, we all need to understand that there is a wholesale market to everything that's sold. Somebody's producing it in great volumes and they're selling it at a cheaper price than someone else puts marketing and flash behind it and they sell it at a higher price. So you've got to find the person that's producing the product before it hits all the other people and it gets more price tags stacked on top of it. So he found the wholesale product, and this was vinyl plank, which is very popular right now, especially with rental properties, because it is it's kind of a hardening of the property. It lasts a long time, so it's less expense for that landlord. And he sat there and found the wholesale product. Then he said, all right, who's my avatar? My avatar is every person that is not an owner-occupied purchaser of real estate. Meaning, if I go and buy a piece of property as an investment property, I'm not living in that property.
Somebody who's renting.
And it gets registered.
Somebody else, yep.
It gets registered. It's called homestead. So this is why he knew he could go and sit there and pull a list. So in the last 90 days, he pulled a list of everybody that bought a property and it was not owner occupied. And then he sat there and after he got the list, he skip traced it. He got their email, he got their phone number, and he got the addresses, and then he used Sly Broadcast and he sent out this ringless voicemail that sounded something like, hey, I saw that you just bought this investment property and I know that you're probably going to change the floor covering in it. So before you go buy that retail, let me save you some money with my product, getting it at a wholesale price. If you're interested, shoot me a text message and I'll send you some samples so that you can make sure this is the quality product that you want to use. His samples cost him $10, including the mail fee. When he would get a text message back, he would engage, he would send it out to them, and within about a 45-day period, they would purchase. I believe his average sale price was somewhere around $2,600, $2,700 per sale. Now, all he's doing is he is looking at how many people I got a response from, how many more people I need to contact so that I can get this to $500,000 produced in cash flow to me.
and he's in, I think, Ohio. He could just go into Missouri, do it. He can go in Illinois, do it, because he already knows.
He can do it all over. He's not
He can do it
limited.
yeah.
He's not limited geographically because UPS and FedEx is
But-
constantly moving on the roads.
But just so people know, why did he choose the non-owner occupied? If he just sent it to people randomly, it would bomb.
Yeah.
Because he'd send it to me. I don't want that. But he picked people who just recently bought a property. They're likely to be doing that. That's super common now.
Cosmetic
Back
repairs.
in the day, everybody was doing carpet. Now everybody's doing this. And it's an expense for them.
Mm-hmm.
So people, it's on their mind. So they're like, yeah, I'll text him back. And then he gave them a better deal.
Yeah.
And he went to them. He didn't he didn't put a website up and say, hey, hopefully some people click on my thing.
He went to them.
He got aggressive. He knocked on their door virtually.
So why would we even go through the effort of trying to do this? Because cash buys you opportunities. When you have cash in your, Kevin, I just said this the other day to you. I said, I need to get myself even more liquid so that I can jump on more opportunities, because when you have cash in reserve, you've got more opportunities in the world. There is so many different ways to make money, and that opportunity expands when you have money sitting on the sidelines. So if you don't have money right now, how can you get that money generating? Because you've got a revenue problem. It's not a budgeting problem.
You know, what does Dan Sullivan say? If you have a problem that money solves, you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
And we know that. I had a lot more problems
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
You can't get out of it. Now, a lot of problems can be solved by money. Even health. I mean, if somebody say you can't help, money can be solved. You get better doctors, you get better hospitals, everything. You need money to solve those problems.
Yeah.
And then what do? You have less problems, you have more brain space, you go make more money. What are we talking about? We're talking about buying more cash flow. Other people are like worrying about their mortgage payment.
And we've both been there, and it's a tough spot to be. So get your money right, get your revenue streams coming in, and it's a lot easier than what you think.
Be aggressive. Do what that guy did.
Yeah.
Chris, what are we doing next week?
So we're going to be talking about marketing without money.
Kind of the same thing. People think you need money to make money. We're going to talk about how to get customers with essentially no money.
Love it.